Okay, in this lesson we're going to discuss the length and customary units. So there's a little trick that I drew for you as far as knowing whether you have to multiply or divide. And sometimes this is the key feature that gets kids confused as to what operation do I have to do. So if you're going from a bigger measurement to a smaller measurement, you're going to multiply. Now imagine this is big. So big because the person has his arms outstretched, showing how big something is. Something is big, right? And you're changing it to something small. So something small is when the person takes their arms and crosses them together, puts them together and say, oh, something is very tiny. But after crossing his arms, he keeps crossing them even further. And as they cross, look what happens. Those arms form a multiplication symbol. So you see the symbol right there? So he's showing, okay, I have something really big, and now I'm changing it to something small. And something small is when you have your arms crossed. So from big to small, you multiply. Big to small, so now you're probably asking, what happens if I go the other way? I'm starting with something small, so look at this person. He's showing that he's holding something tiny, something small, and he's going to change it to something big. Big being outstretched arms. Now what do you do if you go from small, tiny, he's holding in his hands, tiny, into something outstretched, small to big? Small to big is divide. Now how do you know it's divide? Because look, here's a division symbol. Here's the first dot. Here's the middle piece right here, the fraction bar. And here's your bottom side of your body, which is your division symbol. So going from something tiny to something big, small to big, is divide. So here are some basic conversion factors. We have 1 foot equal to 12 inches. In 1 foot, there's 12 inches. 1 yard has 3 feet in it. So if you imagine here's a foot, there's actually 12 tiny inches in it. This is 1 foot. Now, if you have 3 of these, 1, 2, 3, a foot, another foot, 3 of these, altogether, this would be 1 yard. So a yard is 3 feet. Each one of the feet is worth 12 inches. So there's 12 inches here, 12 inches here, 12 inches here. A mile has 1,760 yards. Also, a mile is the same thing as 5,280 feet. Now, feet are actually a smaller unit of measure. That's why we have more of them. So we're going to be using these 4 values, 12, 3, 1,760, 5,280, to multiply or divide. Remember, big to small, small to big is a key factor to help you decide whether you're going to multiply or divide. Our first problem, we have 65 inches. We want to know how many feet and inches this would convert to. So remember that every 12 inches is 1 foot. So how many times does 12 go into 65? This is what we want to do. Now, how do we know if it's multiplying or dividing? Inches are small. Feet are bigger. So we're going from small, put your hands together, into feet, which are big, spread them apart. As you spread your arms apart, you know you have to divide. Small to big is divide. So we're going to divide by this number, feet and inches. So we find inches. Here in the table we have it. 1 foot is 12 inches, so we divide by 12. 12 can go into 65 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60. And so you are 5 spaces away from 65. How many inches is that? Well, those are the 5 inches left over. We have 5.5 feet. We're going to change it into inches. Feet are larger, inches are smaller, so going from big to small. Stretch your arms out, big, small, close your arms together. You forming a multiplication symbol. Feet and inches, find those here. There's 12 inches per foot. Remember, if you want to do it this way as well, there's 12 inches in every 1 foot. If you have, this is 1 foot. So if you have 5 of these, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you also have a half of a foot. So you have another 12 inches, another 12 inches, another 12 inches, another 12 inches. And half of a foot is not going to be another 12 inches. Half of a 12 inches, this half of the 12 inches, would have to be another 6 inches. So we can do it this way. 12 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12 times 5. Find the answer, and then add the extra 6 inches from the half a foot. 12 times 5 is 60, plus the extra 6 should be 66 inches. Now, we could also have done this a different way, so let's try a different way. This is a visual way, and it might be easier for some of you, but if you want to do it a shorter way, you can. So we are still going to multiply 5.5 by 12, because there's 12 inches per foot. Remember, to multiply a mixed number by a whole number, change it to improper fraction. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11 over 2, multiplied by 12, which is the same thing as 12 over 1. When you come up to this point, you can cross-reduce. 2 and 12 are divisible by 2. That's 1. 12 divided by 2 is 6. You have 11 times 6, which is 66. 1 times 1 is 1, and the answer comes out to be 66. You could have also done this. 5.5 is the same thing as 5.5, and if you multiply it by 12 and then move the decimal over one space at the end, you're still going to get 66. Feet to inches. So big to small. Big to small, multiply. Again, feet and inches are related to 1 to 12, so we're going to multiply by 12. Okay, but before we do that, we're going to do this the visual way. You have 5 3/4 of a foot. So 5 full feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each foot is worth 12 inches. So 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12. So 5 of these, 5 times 12 altogether, so far we have 60 inches. We also have 3/4 of a foot. So if you have a full foot of 12 inches, and you want to divide this into 4 equal sections, okay, how much is each section worth? So if you take 12 inches and divide it into 4 equal sections, this is what I did here, how much is each section worth? It should be 3. 3, 3, 3, and 3. That should be 12 together. We're talking about 3/4 of that. 3/4. 1, 2, 3 out of 4 pieces. So that should be 3 inches plus 3 inches plus 3 inches, which is altogether 9 inches. So we have 60 inches plus 9. 69 inches would be the total length. So this is one way we could have done this. And of course our second option is just to multiply it. Whichever you find might be easier for you. We'll see. So let's see. First we're going to do 5 3/4 multiplied by 12, which is the same thing as 12 over 1. Multiply this and add to change it to improper fraction first. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 is 23 over 4. Multiplying this by 12 over 1. 12 and 4 are both divisible by 4, so we're going to do that. Divide this by 4, you get 1. Divide this by 4, you get 3. Now we multiply. 23 times 3 is 69. 1 times 1 is 1. 69 divided by 1 is still 69, so our answer is correct at 69 inches. we have feet and yards. From something that's smaller, feet, you're going into something that's larger, yards. So put your hands together for feet and spread them apart. Why? To show that you have a yard. You're going from small to big, so you are dividing. Also, it tells us here that 1 yard is 3 feet. So if we have this example, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. 3 of these feet would equal 1 yard. So we're definitely dividing by the number 3 because there's 3 feet per yard. Now take a long division and divide. 165 divided by 3. By the way, there's an easy way to find out if a number is divisible by 3. Take its digits. 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 5 is 12. 12 divided by 3 is possible, which means 3 can go into 12 evenly without a remainder. If it does go into that number evenly without a remainder, it means the number is divisible by 3. So let's divide. 3 goes into 1 0 times. 3 goes into 16 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. Subtract, we get 1, bring down 5. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Our answer is 55, so we put 55 as the final answer.